If you've ever studied the monarch butterfly, you know, most birds have migration patterns, but the monarch butterfly is very unique because every year the monarch butterfly is known for its precise migration to a small forest in South Mexico. So the monarch butterflies all over America and in Canada, they make this trek every year. It's a 3,000-mile trek. And I want to encourage you, the race that we're running, my friend, it's a trek. It's a journey. There are winds, there are rains, there are trials, but we can do this. The monarch butterfly is a beautiful picture of generations passing on from one generation to another. So guess what? So when we have the monarch butterfly lays its egg on milkweed. So whenever you see this milkweed, the monarch butterfly lays its eggs on this plant, and then when they are hatched, they turn into these creepy caterpillars, all right? And the caterpillars feast on the milkweed going through before they enter into this cocoon. So they're feasting on the milkweed. And isn't it interesting, as Christians, we're called to have milk, to be fed with milk. Hebrews says, he says, you need milk, not solid food, for everyone who lives on milk is unskilled in the word of righteousness since he is a child. So we begin on milk, but we grow into this place of eating meat. How many know we need a church that has teeth? So if you choke on my sermons, it's not always my fault. Sometimes I try to cut it up really nice, but I'm not pureeing it. So we grow. So the caterpillar grows and grows, and then it enters into this cocoon stage called the chrysalis, and this caterpillar transforms into a beautiful monarch butterfly in 8 days. Now, 8 is powerful because 8 is the number of new beginnings and new covenant and new life. And so we see this transformation that takes place. And if you're young in the Lord, then begin to eat the word. Devour the milk of the word. Devour it. That's what you need to be in your Bible every day. Daily making declarations. Daily praying. Daily in the word. When these butterflies, the monarch butterflies, they're going to fly all the way from Mexico, this place called Michoacan, Mexico. There's a small forest on some mountain that these butterflies will begin to fly, and they'll make their up to 3,000 miles trek back to Canada and back to America. They migrate every year. But listen, this trip is not completed in one generation of monarch butterflies. This takes 4 to 5 generations of monarch butterflies to reach their goal and their destiny. And I want to encourage you, just like we read in Hebrews chapter 12, that this is not a sprint, this is a marathon. That you're running your part, that you're gleaning from the past, and you're giving your mantle to the future. This generation that crosses the finish line in the monarch migration is different from their parents, grandparents, or even grandparents. Previous generations only live about 4 weeks. They die off, and then the next generation continues on. And then they die off because they only live 4 weeks. Then there's a 4th generation that's given birth. But there's something different about this final generation of monarch butterflies. Previous generations completed their life cycle in 4 weeks, but the last generation of these butterflies, they're strong. They're unlike any other of the previous 4 generations. They're the final generation. These butterflies are members of a generation that calls them the monarch super generation. It's the final generation, because what took 4 generations to get to their destination in the north, this final destination, this final generation makes the entire trek of 3,000 miles by themselves. What took them 4 generations previously takes 1 generation with a super generation. And can I tell you, saints, that we are the super generation that God has called in this time and this season. There are gifts that God is releasing in this season. Just like he said, this generation is different. This generation, it carries on what has happened in the past. But this generation is going to make the entire trek back to where they were born, to their destiny, and to fulfill the race, because they're not running a sprint. They're carrying the relay race upon the strength that have come from the past. They're carrying it to the final destination. And that, my friend, is the super generation. We are the super generation. Are you part of the super generation? The world says you're weak, you can't do this, you can't carry it on. But we are the super generation. We're the super generation that's going to cross the line. Declare what was spoken. Declare what was said. Honor the lives that have gone before us, and realize we're part of that. We're going to bring it across the finish line by the power of God. We're that super generation. We are that super generation. Come on, sometimes we've looked at our lives and we said, God, can these bones live? But God says, prophesy. Grab hold of those promises. Don't hold back about what you lost. Don't hold back about the future. Run the race. Cast off the sin that so easily entangles you. Cast off the weights of the anxiety and the lies. Run the race. Carry the mantle. Carry the legacy and pass it on. We are like the monarch butterflies in our faith journey. We are on a grand journey that spans generations. We may have not begun this journey, and we may not complete it without those who come after us. And we too are going where we have never gone before.